Tuber's High Score Challenge, and the game this time is JJ Squawkers. Very bright and colourful game and lovely graphics. First impressions when I played this was where I wasn't too keen. The character throws these projectiles. He starts off with a tomato type weapon which goes at a certain trajectory, and it's quite difficult to hit some enemies like so, especially when it's just sort of flying in like that. So it scrolls left to right, taking out the enemies. There's various power-ups you can collect on the way. I haven't picked up any additional weapons as yet. A little bit here where you can jump on top of the enemies as they spring up out the ground and get to that top layer. Bit of a tip, if you can get those points bonuses as soon as they appear or as soon as you can get there, then they're worth more points, up to 10,000 points. It took me a couple of goes, but after a short while I started thinking of it a bit like Super Ghouls and Ghosts type game. That in a way sort of just helped me make a bit more sense of it. And once I started thinking that, I started to get a bit more optimistic about things, because I have actually managed to properly complete Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I knew that it's the type of game where, yes, it can seem very tricky at first, but you learn it, you know, like a lot of games, you learn it, and before you know it, yeah, no problems. But yeah, I won't quite say no problems, but you know, you can make good progress in a game with a bit of practice. So level 1 boss here, yeah, this flying thing, it does a mix of these sort of charging patterns. You kind of like let it sort of shoot things into the air, and then sort of like whilst you're pelting it, it does sort of like a charge move, then occasionally sort of jumps up and around. There's only one attack it really does which is a bit problematic, and that's with these kind of like white spinny balls which it chucks up. Sometimes when it chucks those, it also jumps in the end shortly afterwards, and when you're dodging the spinny things, you can jump into the boss and like lose some energy. So, on to level 2. Just a bit of general info as well. I'm actually recording this on a Friday afternoon instead of my usual hungover Sunday mornings. Reason being is got a bit of a busy weekend planned, and I'm just not going to have enough time to have another proper crack at this, I think, over the next couple of days. So I thought I'd get things wrapped up here. Okay, so yeah, got a different weapon here. I think this is the first different power-up I've picked up. It's kind of like a three-way shot thing. It's one of the... There's about 4 different weapons in total, I think. This, I would say, is probably my favourite one. Actually, there's another one I find more fun, but in terms of usefulness, yeah, this is probably the weapon of choice. Each power-up as well, there is a power-up option, so you almost get like 2 variations of the power-up. So yeah, I've just picked up the power shot there, and what that's done is it's given me sort of like a 5-way shot, and it goes a little bit further as well. So very useful, those power-ups. Not going to pick up that one. That's kind of like these kind of like screw shots, which are sort of quite powerful, but they're very horizontal. And I find what's important in this game is to have a bit of a spread, because the way some of the enemies come in and the angles they come in at, you kind of want a bit of a trajectory just to sort of be able to take those out. Even with the original weapon like the tomatoes, like I would say that's preferable to the nails in a way, just because of that extra arc you get just to help sort of take out the enemy sort of coming in from slightly above. Lovely bit of like surreal graphics here as well. And you jump on those things and like it's quite random. Sometimes it's one of the other boxes, but they kind of like freak out and carry up to the next bit here. So that's a level 2 boss. Yeah, not too bad. Potentially a bit unpredictable with its sort of like when it bounces around. I don't mind it when it rolls up. Yeah, this bouncing attack can be slightly unpredictable at times. That's the one which usually catches me out. The rest of it, I don't mind at all really. Where it rolls along the top of the screen, there's plenty of time to jump out of the way and things. Just at the end here as well, if you can get the stars as a bonus, but you can also shoot the corpse, as it were, to get some bonus points as well. So an extra few hundred or so points to be had there. So this is Geometry Zone, as it's known. Must admit, a very bright and colourful level, like the last one was as well. For a lot of the times I played through this, I almost didn't notice really sort of like what was like going on in the background, and I kind of like didn't really point it out in the last level, but there's some very interesting graphics and artwork, all quite surreal as well. It's got a nice style about it. Potentially tricky bit coming up just here. This bit was catching me out for a while. Not those blue things, but these here. My mistake at first was when they all appear to stay in the same place and sort of try and take them out, but it kind of helps if you move forward a bit to sort of just like draw them out of position. Otherwise you kind of just get swamped from all angles at the same time, which makes it a bit tricky. So on to the next phase of the level here. It's kind of like there's all these blocks flying around. You can destroy them. They don't actually hurt you if you touch them, but you do need to watch out for getting crushed between blocks. You take quite a few hits as well. It's not so bad up until this point, but just coming up is the tricky bit, which did take me quite a few attempts to work out. And yeah, the trick is to just make a note to get as far forward in this bit as possible, take that upper block out, and then that sort of eases things up whilst you just like create a bit of space ahead of you with the other blocks which come in. It's still fairly easy to get caught out in that bit even once you've got like your routine, but doing that kind of helped me the most. You can easily get crushed otherwise. Interesting power up here. It's just a temporary one, but it fires these got crushed there. These quite bizarre projectiles, really. One of them also flashes up as like insert coins if you look carefully as well. It's a bit cheeky, sort of trying to subliminally make you put more money in. This boss, not too bad at all. I prefer this boss to the last boss even. Just need to, stay reasonably close. As soon as one of those blocks appears, jump up, get over it, and then onto the floor again to hammer it. Sometimes you need to watch out for the occasional enemy it leaves behind, just so when it jumps over you take out whatever enemy it left behind so you don't run into it, but apart from that it's fine really. Okay, onto the fourth stage, Cosmos. Again, lovely graphics, yeah, a bit more subdued with the colours this time, which I think makes it a bit more easier on the eye. but still, very, very bright and fascinating nonetheless. It's a bit scary that there's plenty of opportunities to fall to your doom at the bottom of the screen, but those asteroids floating around are fairly generous in size, so it's not too much of a risk. And yeah, I want to dodge that power up and stick with the one I've got. Yeah, this bit is a particularly tricky bit. This was catching me out a lot, and this would quite often be a run stopper for a lot of times when I was playing it at first. Just with those kind of dog thingies which home in on you, and like all the asteroids flying around, and some of those red ones can take you out of position as well if they come up. They kind of like take you onto that platform instead. So that last bit there was certainly like a bit tricky. Yeah, possibly one of the hardest bits in the game. Well, yeah, one of them definitely. Okay, stage 4 boss. I'm actually being quite careful here. I'm in just the right position so that my spread shot, the lower one, doesn't clip the platform, because otherwise that can limit the angle, and it's possible for the enemy boss to get a shot in on the sly, which sort of sneaks up under the platform. But in that position now, I was able to sort of maximise what I could take out with the spread. And yeah, that boss, it's not too bad. Sometimes it can catch you out on the second phase when it sort of like flies around the screen a bit, but as long as you shoot its head, it thwarts it away, and you can take it out fairly quickly. Okay, now this next stage is just like a boss rush, and the bosses behave pretty much exactly as they did first time round. The only difference is there are these two platforms now, which do mix things up a bit. In terms of this first boss, it probably makes things a bit easier, really. But as we'll see soon, it can throw you off a bit. So that's the first boss done. You get like a brief wave of enemies in between. From, in fact, yeah, come to think of it, the level that boss appeared from. The access shot, by the way, I think I picked it before, but it just means you can sort of fire more shots. You can have more shots on the screen than normal, so more rapid rate of fire. This second boss here is the more complicated one, thanks to these platforms. It just makes it that much more unpredictable in terms of where it's going to bounce, and yeah, and how to deal with that as well. Yeah, it was actually this boss on this boss rush bit which halted quite a few runs of mine. Bit of an emulator glitch. It seems to do my laptop. I don't know why it does it, but quite often, well, every so often it does this kind of like grinding like thing. So yeah, same tactic as before, really. The good thing is, though, it kind of gets stuck on that top platform, so you can just take it out from below. It's not too much trouble. this wave of enemies here is very tricky, especially if you've not got the spread shot like I had. And just here I've accidentally picked up one of the other power-ups, which I didn't really want, but hey ho, hey, stuck with it now, so just got to do my best. Nearly had me there. And again. Yeah, it's come out, no problem. Okay, now the final boss. Right, yeah, I just noticed, yeah, there's a power-up which has just appeared on the right hand side. This would fairly often appear, like out of the 4 or 5 times I got to this boss, this bomb power-up would appear, and this makes it loads easier than what it would be normally. So with the bomb thing, you just like take him out. I think about 3 out of the 5 times I got to this boss, that bomb power up appeared. So seeing that was an absolute blessing. And here is the ending. Okay, and end credits as JJ Squawks walks back to the or back through the stages. Okay, now as you might see, there's a bit of left to go in this video, and I'd only completed it or got past that first loop a couple of times before, and when I last sort of did it, I only got as like I died in this first stage. Yeah, 1 to loop 2. Difference is more enemies and all faster, so it's just all that much more harder, really. My target was to get to the end of level 1 at least. The big reason for that is those star bonuses you get at the end of the second loop. They're worth loads more points than they are on the first loop. So I knew if I could just get that far, my score would be massively boosted. So that was the plan. Honestly, I wasn't expecting on getting that too far after that, because yeah, last time I got to this level, I was just getting caught out all over the place. I was thinking, shit, this is really hard. Just a general comment as well, like the energy, like as soon as you take one hit, it puts so much pressure on in terms of like not taking another one. Yeah, it really ramps it up. Yeah, lovely graphic. I didn't point it out in the first lead, by the way, but yeah, the graphics on this first level, like the background, is like yeah, really nice. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Yeah, just always like that lovely moon and all these like cliffs and everything, and as we see, sort of just towards the end here, is kind of just like this like ocean thing. It doesn't look too much like an ocean with this colour set, but it's yeah, it's just like lovely graphics. Yeah, and I've kind of ended up with like the powered up version of the original weapon as well. Just kind of like pumpkins and stuff, tomatoes. Fortunately, the actual boss behaves much the same way as in the first loop, so this isn't too much of a extra difficulty at all. Not that I've noticed. Yeah, you see the amount of points that some of these are worth. Like, yeah, that last one was like 25,000 points. Yeah, that's huge. That's like that's more than you make on the entire of the first loop, first stage, first loop. Anyway, it's just like really boosted points. In fact, I've not doubled my score, but like it's given it a massive boost. Yeah, as you can see, just like lots more enemies on this bit. So this was actually the first time I got to this level on this loop, and I really didn't know what to expect. Everything's flying in faster and there's more enemies, but I was finding it surprisingly manageable. Bit worried about this bit. I had to do a jumping down shot there, and yeah, it took a hit. Yeah, the background is very surreal. It's kind of almost like a portrait of someone in a chair, and then there's kind of like a horde of cows or bulls or something. One of the worries on the second loop as well is like because of the extra enemies and things, and also just it's a bit more unknown, so you need to take it slightly more carefully. Is just the amount of time it takes to get through the level, because the time isn't that generous. It's not one of these games which gives you stacks of time to get through it. It's fairly well paced. Yeah, just a bit of additional info. This is something I didn't actually realise until a bit later on. But with this boss, and I think like most of them really, they only move on to the next attack, which they do in like a certain order. Well, this one does anyway. I think. Well, this is a bit strange. Yeah, I got a star bonus, so I thought, oh great, that's it. But then it kind of like it wasn't quite dead, and I needed to blow it up again. But hey, I got 2 lots of stars for it, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, what I was just saying is like the boss kind of moves on to its next attack after a certain amount of hits. It's worth keeping that in mind, because it just helps you like plan for things. Because what I was doing sometimes is just like waiting for it to do the next attack, and it wouldn't. I was thinking, why is it not doing that? And it's because like I was standing around waiting for it to attack rather than shooting it to trigger the attack. A small detail, but it can make a lot of difference. So once it was top buff bit, yes, this is in the first ship as well, but some like bonus points you can get there from taking out these ships which appear. I didn't want to spend too much time on it though, because yeah, so just thinking about how limited time can be, and again, I've not got to this bit at all before. I've not even got to the last stage before this run. Interesting enemy here. You do actually see this enemy if you take the lower route on this level in the first loop. When I saw this, I was like, oh no, not this one, because it is certainly one of the tougher enemies. And to find it on this like slopey bit here, it's kind of like, shit, that's a pretty awkward placement for it. It takes loads of hits. That was annoying. I went through the platform. That shouldn't have happened. That was like no fault of my own. It's just like the game shouldn't have let me go through the platform like that. But you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. So when that happened, I was thinking, shit. It's like because the last thing I want to do is like lose my power up on a stage like this. It's like another one of those things. And I went too far to the right and triggered all the blooming things. So that I was seriously happy, shall we say, not to lose a bit of engine and a life there. Okay, now on to this like little run bit. So different layout of all the blocks and everything, and again I'm thinking, this is like first time sort of going through this. I'm thinking I don't know what to expect. I'm going to be screwed here. I thought just try and do it like I do with the first loop, and just like hope for the best really. Oh, so close to getting squashed there, so close. Just about got hit and stopped the block. And the blocks are already piling up, finding it difficult to clear through. Yeah, got to the right. This is the bit you want to get to the right as quick as possible. I decided to leave that block above me in place, which turned out to be a good thing because it blocked another block from coming down and crushing me, giving me time to take out these other blocks which were just ahead of me. Still nearly ran out of screen, but got through it. That's slightly close as well, that bit there. And this bit, yeah, so many blocks here. I was thinking, oh no, like what to do. Just I had to sort of just go for it really. Just did not want to get trapped at the back of the screen with all this happening. And yeah, somehow, yeah, I mean that was like a bit fortunate in a way. Yeah, it's like took a bit of skill, but yeah, that was quite fortunate getting through that. Didn't know what to expect. Okay, stage 3 clear. Yeah, there's one of those stars there with like 60,000 points. Yeah, that's like a huge amount. That's more than you get in the whole of the first loop, I think. And yeah, you see the speed some of those projectiles are coming out like that from the enemy. It's like you kind of need to keep on just tapping fire for your own protection. The principles are still very much the same as in the first loop, you know, just in terms of where you want to be positioned to take out the enemies and things. Checking out this really difficult enemy here. And look at that, jump straight to me death. That's fantastic. After all that, yeah, the mistake I make is just like jumping right between the gap. That's like classic, brilliant. Fortunately, get the power up on my weapon straight from the off, so it's kind of like back to where I was shot wise. But yeah, it's kind of like that knocked me a bit. I was kind of like, oh no, that was like, because that was actually the first life I'd lost. Yeah, which like honestly that was certainly not expected at all. I'd only got to the first stage on this loop first time around. Just about recovered from a hit there. I'm conscious that my time is seriously running out, and yeah, just got caught out a bit too easily there, perhaps by the shots. And yeah, it's just like struggling there just to take out the shots at a time. Okay, yeah, this bit as well. The speed at which things come in, it's like it's crazy. I'm avoiding that power. Yeah, there's that one. It just comes out from the top, and it's so quick. Just cannot take it out. There's probably a method to it, but it's like seriously did not get a chance to. That's kind of like that's pretty much unreasonable, I'd say. About the only unreasonable bit I'd say so far in the game. Yes, you get some tricky bits, but the way that comes at you, that's kind of like, nah. So that's just that's not on. Phew, okay, onto the boss rush section. Okay, like small but useful tip, like with those jumping things, in fact, all the waves of enemies which come in this level, try and get a few loose shots off to the left, because those are the ones who are going to come in quick and catch you out. You can see the ones on the right coming, you can fire for shots just to keep them at bay, but sort of like, certainly keep your focus on the left. Good thing about these enemies is they stop slightly short of you as well, so it does actually give you time to turn around and shoot them. Yeah, caught out for the bounce there. That's the one which often caught me out. Yeah, definitely sweating a bit by this point. It's kind of like, it's like whoa, like seriously, it's on here for a double loop. That was lucky. The enemies that fired at, I actually had to turn around and shoot them, and I was lucky I didn't get a missile in my face or rather than my back as I turned around and shoot them. These pot things, they're actually more difficult than the first loop. On this second loop, fortunately, the stars are far going in different directions. It just seems more easy to take them out. I'm just adjusting my position there slightly, just so I can get like a bit more of an angle when I crouch down and get that sort of bottom trajectory to take out any missiles which might be coming in. So yeah, bring it on. Final boss. 4 lives left. Here we go. Yeah, here he is. Yeah, so this is where it gets difficult. And I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking maybe I should have picked up that other power up, because the one I've got, it just doesn't really have the reach. But that's the dilemma, because like that other power up, it's kind of like not as got as good a spread as this one, and the amount of like projectiles that thing fires, it's kind of like you kind of need that protection as well. And I got caught out here. It just kind of made its way under me and jumped up under my ass. Doomed. Yeah, that was just taking. Yeah, so what happens with this wave of enemies is that you take out all these fish things, but the last one you take out takes more hits, which turns out to be the evil sort of main boss. Picked up a power shot there, so thinking, okay, here we go again. I'm like powered up. Unfortunately, I've still not got the excess shot at this point, which is kind of like the rapid fire, which is difficult with the amount of like projectiles it fires. So, managed to take out its first form. Here's the second form. And yeah, that comes out really quickly. And also as well, I wasn't entirely familiar with its pattern of attacks as well, so I couldn't really predict it. Also, like I wasn't really sure what to expect. Right, here we go again. Yeah, projectile just found its way through, taken out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I'm on my last life. Yeah, kind of hoping as well for that bomb power up to appear, which would have still made like light work of this, but yeah, no such joy. Yeah, good to took a hit. There might well be a better way of doing this, but yeah, certainly hadn't figured it out at this time. Fortunately, I managed to get an extra life somehow sort of during the course of that. Yeah, which to be honest I wasn't expecting. And I'd kind of forgotten about it as well, to watching it just now. But another chance we have. Yeah, kind of able to pin him on the side here a bit more, which is helpful. Yeah, it just came out too quick. I just could not. Oh yeah, a bit lucky that I'm burnt. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if I could have got out of the way from there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the tactic is just to sort of just go all in and just take it out as quickly as possible. Take a couple. Well, can't take a couple, but sort of take it, but just to sort of blast it and try and take it out as quickly before it takes you out. But so I was gutted it wasn't quite a double loop, but I was absolutely delighted I got that far. Yeah, and as I was saying, I'd only got to the first stage of the second loop just before that. So the score there was 1,479,020 points. Delighted with that. Yeah, really enjoyable game. Did like it a lot. It's frustrating at first, and also seems very, very difficult at first. But I did get quite addicted to it once I sort of got to know levels a bit more, and it's a good challenge as well. So that's my score. Bye for now.